White moonlight has no fragrance like long-legged senior sister. Introduction. www.zhaoshuyuan.com. There are two regrets in love. One is the white moonlight that you once loved so hard, only to find out in the end that that person is not worth it at all. Another kind is that you don't love well, only to realize that you are truly someone worth loving when you lose them after experiencing death. Lin Shi finally came to a complete realization and gave up decisively after being reborn. https://www.zhaoshuyuan.com. Chapter 1. Senior Sister, I, Lin Shi, have come to make an appointment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, Longhua, Jiangnan City. The male dormitory of Tsinghua University. Don't be foolish, buddy. In what era are you still playing with innocence? The woman you're thinking about now with tears in your eyes may have already contained someone else. Hey, why bother? My roommate sat next to Lin Shi, lit a cigarette, and the faint smoke lingered on a handsome and bewildered face. Lin Shi struggled to control her body and suddenly lifted her head. Her confused gaze gradually became clear, and then she widened her eyes. I'll go. Isn't this Lao Kai, who was cheated out of 5 yuan by a professional girl next door in his freshman year online dating? How did he survive? Lin Shi looked around, feeling increasingly familiar and incredulous. The old and dark dormitory for 6 people, yellow walls, simple upper and lower beds, and a special smell full of essence of life. That's right, it was the college dormitory back then. Seeing these familiar scenery and distant memories surging in, Lin Shi was certain that she should have been reborn. The electronic watch shows that it is now November 1st, 2008, 10 years ago. If I remember correctly, today is Nan Shu's birthday and I just came back from giving gifts. My roommate Lao Kai is persuading him to take a closer look, smoke a cigarette, and chatter on about his love experience worth 5 yuan. Shi, let's put it down. The bicycle you can't bear to ride, others stand up and pedal. The woman you can't bear to touch, someone steps on it like an off-road vehicle, and what's despicable is that if you step on it and the fuel tank bursts, they won't give you a chance to touch it. Lin Shi is speechless. Listening to Lao Kai's words, my heart said that if I were a little psychologically fragile back then, I probably would have gone a long time ago. But he was not wrong. It was time for him to let go of the so-called white moonlight. And the woman Nan Shu did indeed occupy his entire youth. The two come from the same small county town, have lived in the same community since childhood, attended the same middle and high schools, and after 2 years of flirtation, they were admitted to the same university. Although there was no clear identity as a couple, Lin Shi asked herself that she was not inferior to anyone in love, always keeping this white moonlight in her heart and caring for it like a treasure. Clothes, perfume, lipstick, flowers, bracelets, roses, cosmetics. All the gifts that can be given have been given every time. Travel, movies, shopping, going to bars, amusement parks. Entertainment activities that can be played until tiring. Not only that, since coming to college, he has also given Nan Shu 300 yuan in pocket money every month, just like raising a daughter. But in order to achieve these goals, Lin Shi has to work part-time outside of school every day, working tirelessly to earn meager profits. Just for Bonan Shu to smile. He didn't know how many more foolish things he had done, thinking that such efforts would move Nan Shu and bring her love, but the result was disappointment time and time again. Whenever Lin Shi confesses, Nan Shu pretends to be pure and politely refuses. What? Are you joking? Lin Shi, you are a good person, except gift is not equal to I agree, we are still students, so we should give each other more time. Don't worry, as long as the Chinese football team wins, I agree to be your girlfriend. It's ridiculous that Lin Shi initially thought that Nan Shu was a good girl, so pure that she dared not fall in love with boys. He firmly believes that as long as he works hard and is sincere enough, he can move her. However, on November 1st, 2008, Saturday, Nan Shu's birthday. Even after 10 years, Lin Shi remembered it very clearly. That morning, he had planned to surprise Nan Shu by coming downstairs to the girls' dormitory with flowers and chocolate cake, but before he could make a phone call, the three of them awkwardly bumped into each other. Nan Shu's usually calm face suddenly became flustered as he stood in front of the man, afraid that he might misunderstand. Explaining that Lin Shi is just her high school classmate, giving gifts is also normal. Lin Shi understood in an instant. He knows the man behind Nan Shu. I met several times during military training, including the senior of my junior year and the president of the student union at Xinli University. People call victory a stick. I just didn't expect that the 2.5 years of relationship between myself and Nan Shu could not match the passion of knowing each other for 2 months. Originally, all her coldness, arrogance, and restraint in front of her were fake. Lin Shi suddenly tore open the curtain of the world. For the first time, it was discovered that his beloved white Moonlight would also be so proactive towards men. It turned out that the whole world in his eyes was only the joy of someone else's feet. From that day on, Lin Shi's faith collapsed. I have been studying, graduating, and working aimlessly, feeling depressed and sad all day long, unable to escape this failed emotional experience. Until he was 28 years old, he went to the hospital for examination and found out that he had advanced lung cancer. Before dying, Lin Shi lay in the hospital bed, gazing at the sunset outside the window, feeling peaceful both physically and mentally. It was only then that she suddenly realized something. There are 2 regrets in love. The first one is the white Moonlight that you once loved so hard, only to find out in the end that that person is not worth it at all. Yeah, it's not worth it at all. Thinking of this, Lin Shi rushed out of the dormitory, like a grand escape facing the sunshine. He wants to escape the shadow of the past. Not far from the girls' dormitory building, under the newborn sun, a man and a woman are kissing selflessly. The boy's hand wandered freely on the girl's body, the girl tiptoed, flowers were thrown on the ground, and the cake was held by Nan Shu. If 18-year-old Lin Shi saw this scene, even if she risked being punished by the school, she would still have to beat up this man. But he, who returned from death at the age of 28, has already seen through everything. Where is the white Moonlight in the world? It's just a man's green fantasy. Another regret in life is that you didn't love well, only to find out that someone truly deserves your love after losing them. A hospital in a past life. Just as Lin Shi let go of everything and his consciousness fell into darkness, a girl's cry suddenly burst in, forcibly awakening him. In the gap between his eyes, he saw a pair of legs longer than his life, stomping on crystal high heels and coming to his side. Black silk, slender, straight, with a mature charm. Even without looking at her face, Lin Shi knew who she was. Su Wanqing, the senior sister of the dance club Yazihua back then, occasionally had some contact with him after graduation. Strangely enough, how does this scene feel somewhat familiar? It's like going through countless times. Soon, the familiar voice of the girl rang in his ear. Lin Shi, Lin Shi. Open your eyes and look at me, don't sleep well. Without Nan Shu, wouldn't you look up and look forward? I've always been by your side, always. Woo woo. I love you, Lin Shi, very, very much, to the bone. Don't die, okay? We finally met again. If we can still meet again in the next life, I will stand by your side and remember to say, love me. As long as you say it, I will definitely not refuse. Remember this agreement. Turns out, even mediocre people like me have girls who have always loved me. Lin Shi shook his head and looked back on his recent memories, causing him to let out a long sigh. I didn't expect to know who the woman who truly loves me in this world was before I died, which can be considered one of the greatest tragedies in life. Thinking of this, Lin Shi silently picked up a bouquet of roses on the ground and casually threw it into the nearby trash can. Then, he snatched back the cake from Nan Shu's hand, interrupted the kiss, and walked towards the dormitory in their astonished expressions. Lin Shi, what are you doing? Nan Shu behind him shouted loudly, stomping his foot in anger. Lin Shi remained motionless and continued walking. What are you doing? Hee hee, green tea bitch can't match roses, nor can it match love chocolate cake. Lin Shi, you used to be so foolish. Unexpectedly, he wasted his youth, life, and half of his life for a woman who didn't love him. So much so that I couldn't see clearly the girl who truly loved me, causing this tragic love story. At this moment, Lin Shi truly regretted it. Fortunately, I'm back. Lin Shi took a deep breath heavily, slowly exhaled, and looked up at the distant sunrise. Time flies, everything has become a thing of the past, and all regrets have not yet happened. Let's start all over again. Senior sister, I'm Lin Shi here to make an appointment. A newcomer author born and raised at the starting point, plunging into urban literature. I hope all readers can support me. Thank you, thank you. Chapter 2. Crossing. I, Su Wanqing, am no longer a human being. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 3. Homework for the Whitehore Group. Think beautiful, you. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, damn it. Brother Lin, what did you do just now? You scared me. Lao Kai ran downstairs to the dormitory wearing basketball shorts, panting heavily, afraid that Lin Shi wouldn't be able to imagine what might happen. Lin Shi looked straight at the other person and saw the person in front of her clearly, suddenly feeling a bit unreal. Small flat head, muscular all over, looks silly, speaks with a sense of humor, a bit like a husky, sometimes a clever group. It was his roommate and good friend Zhang Kai. Seeing him walking over, Lin Shi excitedly gave Zhang Kai a hug, and the latter was stunned. Lao Kai, do you know Zhang Hui now? She should be very beautiful and I heard she looks like your sister. Zhang Hui. No, I don't know, what's wrong? Lin Shi breathed a sigh of relief and handed him the cake. It's okay, remember, you can't touch this woman in the future. If you don't touch her, you won't die. Zhang Kai. Why am I so confused? Lin Shi suddenly laughed and felt good. Don't be fooled, I'll give you a cake. When my brothers return to the dormitory, we'll share it together. This is a chocolate double-layered cake specially customized by Lin Shihua for 96 yuan, with the words, Happy Birthday to Nan Shu, written on it, and the decoration is very exquisite. In 2008 university, unless it was a very wealthy family, few people would be willing to buy such an expensive cake for their birthday. But no matter how expensive it is now, it's useless. Clam. Zhang Kai scratched his head and his bewildered eyes suddenly lit up. Divide the cake for my buddies. Lin Shi, you're my own brother, didn't you lie to me? No, let the brothers rest assured to eat. Fat and water don't flow into outsiders' fields, cheap green tea is not as good as cheap brothers, Lin Shi said lightly. Wow, it's a small 100 yuan. I haven't had a birthday cake in my life, but today I'm still eating it. It's double-layered chocolate. Lin Shi smiled. If it were left after 2018, Zhang Kai would definitely call him his adoptive father. If you give a cake to a woman, she will say thank you, but if you give cake to your roommates, you will soon receive several 18-year-old sons. In their past lives, although a few people in their dormitories went their separate ways after graduating from college, they haven't seen each other for a long time. But the feelings between each other did not fade with the passage of time. Lin Shi, who was struggling with work, could never refuse to lend money from them as long as she opened her mouth. This shows a glimpse of emotions. Unfortunately, Zhang Kai died too early. The specific details are not clear, but it is said that he married a female anchor named Zhang Hui in 2015, and as a result, he became pregnant and ran away from the top scorer. Zhang Kai was so angry that he drank and drove on the highway at night, and never got off again. "Brother Lin, is your breakup true this time?" Zhang Kai turned around and asked suspiciously, "Don't turn around and make a phone call, you're back." Lin Shi gave an awkward smile. Indeed, he had said similar things before, but every time Nan Shu came to find him, he would immediately surrender and obediently go back to be her licking dog. As soon as Lin Shi thought of her previous portrayal of Wanqing, who pretended to be affectionate, she felt extremely embarrassed and wished she could tie up a villa with her feet on the ground. Lin Shi nodded. "What does this, mean?" The two of them walked into the elevator carrying cakes, talking question after question. "Of course it means to let go." Lin Shi smiled calmly. "Think about it, you Ling Shan smiling in the Jianhu, falls in love with Lin Pingji. No matter how much Ling Hu Chong tries to save her, let alone me. Perhaps being together for a long time can't compare to the novelty." Zhang Kai's two eyes shone brightly as he looked at Lin Shi with admiration. "I'll go. It's really delicious to say that. You really understand." "Don't say it, I just don't think you Ling Shan is worthy of Ling Hu Chong." "Who are we, Ling Hu Chong?" "The male lead. Without you Ling Shan, you will still have Reningying, little sister, and Dongfang Booby in the future." "Hey, stop and stop." Lin Shi quickly called out. "Damn it, let's forget about Reningying and the little nun. What kind of ghost is Dongfang Booby?" "Of course, except for the role played by Chen Meiren." Lin Shi smiled, exhaled a mouthful of turbid air, and had a conversation with Zhang Kai, feeling much more relaxed in her heart. Upon hearing this, Zhang Kai chuckled and patted Lin Shi's shoulder, saying, "What's wrong with Dongfang Booby? On the first page of his sword manual, at least it says to first kill his crush. Women, it only affects the speed at which men draw their swords. Let's go to an internet cafe and play 2CF sword battles together. My treat." Lin Shi smiled and waved her hand. If I don't go to play on a great weekend, I won't still be thinking about your white moonlight, will I?" Zhang Kai frowned and asked. "No, I'm a bit tired. I want to lie down in bed and take a nap. In the afternoon, Teacher Han still needs to make up classes and rest. I also have to attend the club's freshman dance in the evening. Hey, don't worry about Han class now. I've finished all the group assignments. However, heartbreak is quite tiring, I have experience." Zhang Kai pretended to be affectionate and immediately changed his face. "Then rest well and I'll go to the internet cafe to have an online class myself, while also bringing in some goods for my brothers." There are online classes at this time. Which teacher's class still needs to be watched at an internet cafe? Lin Shi didn't react for a moment. Zhang Kai smiled silently and hurriedly left. Zhang Kai went out to study, while other roommates went to play basketball early in the morning, making the room rarely quiet. Quiet like the hospital bed from a past life. Coming from time to time, Lin Shi was exhausted all over. As she climbed onto the bed, she fell into a drowsy sleep, feeling only the beginning of chaos and the collapse of heaven and earth. The butterfly with folded wings and withered leaves that cannot find flowers will never see withering. After an unknown amount of time, the ringtone on her phone rang, and Lin Shi instinctively picked up her 2G phone. Click to answer. In a hazy voice, a familiar girl's voice came to her ear, pinching her throat and saying, "Lin Shi, have you finished your current Han homework in your dormitory?" "I think." Even with her eyes closed, Lin Shi knew it was Nan Shu's phone number. In addition to her voice, there was also some "happy birthday" noise next to her. If he guessed correctly, it should be a group of people holding a birthday party. What peach are you thinking? Lin Shi hung up her phone, feeling extremely tired. She turned on airplane mode and continued to sleep upside down. White prostitution group homework. I think you're beautiful. On the other side, inside the Binhao Hotel. Facing the hanging up phone, Nan Shu frowned and pressed the replay button. Sorry, the number you dialed has been turned off, I am sorry. What? Situation. Don't answer my phone. Is he really angry? Cut, I'm just kissing another man, as for him. I even took the cake this morning, stingy guy. For some reason, Nan Shu suddenly felt a little uncomfortable and lowered his head in frustration. The most important thing is that group assignments cannot be done for free. Now, Teacher Han is very strict, saying that if the homework cannot be completed on a regular basis, the regular score will be cancelled. In college, there is no regular score, which is no different from failing a course. Shu, did Lin Shi agree to give our group homework? Asked her best friend, Lily. There won't be any accidents, will there? My roommate next to me asked with concern when she saw Nan Shu's expression was not good. Hey, it's impossible. Who is Lin Shi? Our servant, the Southern Book Empress Dowager, orders him to go east and not dare to go west. It's not a piece of cake to waste a group assignment. Another roommate spread out his hand and said sourly. There are 5 people sitting in the house. Today is Nan Shu's birthday, and the student union president invited the entire dormitory to come to the hotel for dinner. This group of women played until noon, only then remembered that they had to hand in group assignments for Han class this afternoon. But the atmosphere has reached this point, who still wants to do homework? Isn't it unpleasant to go for nothing? In Nan Shu's understanding, as long as it is her request, Lin Shi cannot refuse. But just now, he said I was thinking of eating peaches, I don't know what it means. Nan Shu said in confusion. What peach? What peaches need to be given group assignments? If we fail the course, how can we evaluate the scholarship? Shu, hurry up and let him crawl over to do our homework. We can't get used to him. Nan Shu also wanted to do this, but Lin Shi had already shut down. I can't get through. He doesn't think I'm a bad girl, does he? Thinking of this, Nan Shu felt an inexplicable sense of injustice in her heart. Can she be blamed for this? How could I feel embarrassed to refuse the student union president's pursuit of her? That's an official among the students. In the future, I will have to rely on others to help me, engage in more activities in college, and gain some qualifications, which will make it easier for me to find a job in the future. Besides, how could the president of the student union refuse to invite the entire dormitory to dinner? Even if you want to kiss, it's not too much. You see, Lin Shi never thought of treating her roommates to dinner, and she didn't make any progress, not even attending the student union. But just after military training, what dance club did you attend? What's the use of that? How could Shu be a bad girl? I think Lin Shi might just have a bad temper and got jealous of us, the president of the student union. My best friend, Lily, persisted in persuading me and went to Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. Hello, tell Lin Shi about it. He will definitely give you the homework. The other 2 roommates next to me laughed but remained silent. Okay. Nan Shu felt in his heart that his best friend was right. In fact, similar situations have occurred before, but as long as you send a message to Lin Shi, you will soon reconcile with her and be more obedient. She has been using this trick to hold on to Lin Shi for many years, always trying out various skills, and today is definitely the same. Jealous. What qualifies him to eat the wrong thing? Damn it, I really gave him face. The 3 roommates next to him were filled with righteous indignation and said angrily, yes, punish him. Give him some color to see. I'm saying something, men who don't respect women deserve to die. Do you agree? Nan Shu nodded foolishly, showing a smile, thinking to himself that his best friend could still be trusted. Starting from today, I will not eat the snacks he bought me for a month, not accept his gifts, not let him treat me to meals, let him go in a hurry. When I let him chase me back, I just won't agree. I'm so anxious about him, Under the influence of his best friend, Nan Shu thought happily and quickly edited a text message on his phone. Lin Shi, after seeing the information, quickly finished the group assignment and handed over to me before class in the afternoon. Otherwise, I will be angry. Click to send. Quickly, a few people started drinking red wine again, listening to the chairman of the student union boasting and joking, causing several girls to be momentarily stunned. At the same time, in the boys' dormitory, Lin Shi put her phone aside and was snoring under the protection of flight mode, feeling relaxed and taking a deep sleep. New author, seeking all kinds of support to stabilize Dao Xin and not want to collapse. Chapter 4. Are Boys Not Human? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. The 55th Xingda Dance Welcome Conference will be held in the multifunctional hall on the 3rd floor of the South Campus Art Center. We sincerely invite all members of the club to participate. Su Wanqing glanced at QQ group chat messages, replied, yes, with a semi-smartphone, and continued to draw eyeliner in front of the mirror. With each stroke, mature and gentle eyes are outlined, and the eyebrows and eyes blink lightly, as if a microwave in the wind, especially moving. The eyebrows and corners of the eyes hide a delicate aura, and the voice, and smile show gentleness. Haha. With my sister's outfit, I can't help but be mesmerized by him at night. Su Wanqing put down the eyeliner pen and was very satisfied with her masterpiece. Wearing a white dress, she showed her ankles on crystal high heels, stood in front of the mirror and turned around. It seemed that she had seen Lin Shi's irresistible appearance. Once, she met Lin Shi on this evening. It's interesting to think that when Nan Shu released Lin Shi pigeons and the ball started, Su Wanqing saw that this elementary school student had no dance partner, which was pitiful, so she went to take him to dance. But to her surprise, despite Lin Shi being a newcomer, her figure and dance steps were surprisingly good, even surpassing her skills. As soon as the two of them made a move, their gaze on the field was immediately drawn in, and after a waltz, they received thunderous applause. I don't know where to start, but as I go, I feel deeply in love. It should have been from that moment that Su Wanqing became interested in Lin Shi, and even had a favorable impression. Later on, as the two of them got to know each other more and often participated in various school performances together, her feelings for Lin Shi spread like cancer cells and she could never give up. Later on, Didi. Just as she was lost in thought, a group conversation message came from her QQ phone. Su Wanqing looked down displeased and frowned. Hello, I am Sun Ziliang, the student president of Xingda this year. Tonight is a wonderful night, and I really hope to dance tango with my younger sister Wanqing. May I have the honor to do so? Sun Tzu Yang. Even a local dog pretends to be a gentleman. Su Wanqing knew him and won't beat a stick. My family has money, but I heard they still have some power. A typical wealthy third generation. If nothing unexpected happens, he probably won't need to do anything else in his life besides spending money and picking up girls. With endless money, at Xinli University, Sun Tzu Liang didn't even need to take the initiative to pick up girls, as there were women who fell for him. Many girls have been to the hospital because of him. Pooh, there's no doubt about scumbags. Many people do not know that when dancing tango, the combination posture of the male and female partners is slightly different from other dances, which is called tango positioning. Both sides should lean closer, with the right arm of the man embracing and the left arm of the woman facing inward, with the body in contact and the center of gravity shifted. Most of the movements require close and intimate contact between men and women, and this guy clearly has no good intentions. Fingers lightly tapped, Su Wanqing made the same decision for the 101st time. Reviewed, not approved. Although this guy has some money and his family has some influence in Jiangnan City, many people dare not offend him, but Su Wanqing is not a vegetarian either. Rich third generation. It's just a joke. Not to mention moving out her father and grandfather, even her older brother Su Sang, who has been regarded as a shame of the Su family since childhood, can casually hang up the assets of their 3 generations of grandchildren. Cut, do you still want to green my man with just this little skill? Do you have the ability? Su Wanqing threw down her phone and continued to dress up in front of the mirror, with a smile on her lips. In the afternoon, at the Liberal Arts Building. After the party, Sun Tzu Liang drove several girls to the teaching building in a depressed Mercedes-Benz S315 left without saying a word. No one knows the reason. A few people from Nanshu were too lazy to take off their makeup and didn't go back to the dormitory. They arrived early in the classroom to occupy the back seats, making it easier for them to fish in class. Shu, why haven't Lin Shi come yet? Asked her best friend Lily gently. Lin Shi should be on lunch break. There's still some time before class, so we can wait a little longer. Nanshu drank some wine and shook his head with a rosy face. She was able to wait, but her roommate Xia Shui was unwilling to wait and began to make a fuss on the side. Lunch break. How could he have the face to sleep? Books and books, this kind of man really can't have them, he has no money, and he doesn't keep his promise. They all agreed to do group homework for us, but it made us anxious here. That's right, men can't get used to it, roommate Niu Mengqi pursed her lips and showed a hint of disgust. Look at President Sun, he's handsome, wealthy, and always thinking about improving. Let's take a look at these boys in our class again. What kind of thing are they? They're ugly and childish. Whoever finds them as boyfriends is unlucky. After more than 10 minutes, there were more and more people in the classroom, and the class time was getting closer and closer. The 4 of them became increasingly anxious. As several figures walked slowly towards her, Lily breathed a sigh of relief and immediately ran out with Nan Shu. Lin Shi, give me the group assignment quickly. A familiar voice came to Lin Shi's ears, and she was slightly stunned when she saw the 2 people running towards her. It has to be said that the beauty of Nan Shu is very high, and wherever you stand, it is a scenery. The scoundrel has become the white moonlight of many young people. But he no longer feels anything. No matter how white the short legs are, can they compare to the long black legs? There's no way to compare it. What group assignment? Lin Shi spread out her hands and asked in surprise, what does this have to do with me? Xia Shui and Niu Mengqi also rushed over, and everyone turned their gaze to Nan Shu, with a hint of surprise in their eyes. Why doesn't it matter? I've already sent you a message. Nan Shu said anxiously, if you don't believe me, look at your phone. Lin Shi suddenly remembered that she was sleeping soundly. After hanging up the phone, she turned on the flight mode and slept until the afternoon before class. After turning off the airplane mode, several mobile and QQ messages appeared, which were exactly the content sent by Nan Shu this morning. The choice of words and sentences all revealed disgust. Sorry for the misunderstanding caused by Shishi Guoguo. In fact, the relationship between me and President Sun was just a kiss, it's really nothing. Lin Shi Guoguo, they need a group assignment to save lives, I don't care. If I send you the information, it means you agree. You must give it to me before class in the afternoon, otherwise it will make you look good. Message equals I agree. I'll go, it's even better than the Tang inequality. Lin Shi was completely speechless. Sure enough, the little fairy in later generations did not appear out of thin air in the era of short videos, but has always existed, just because information is blocked and everyone doesn't know. Sorry, I didn't see it before. Lin Shi smiled calmly, with a hint of mockery. Lin Shi. Why are you doing this? Nan Shu stomped his foot in anger, his face turning pale. Silly on the side, seeing the situation was not good, immediately stepped forward to accuse Lin Shi of wanting to occupy the moral high ground and get the group assignment. Lin Shi, do you understand women? I've sent you messages about books and books. Whether you read them or not, you have to bring your homework. If you haven't written it, it's okay for your roommate to do it for me. We don't mind. Upon hearing these words, Lin Shi's roommates turned black and stood in front of Lily. Why? How can we submit the homework once we give it to you? Zhang Kai was furious when he heard this. Shit. Is that worth mentioning? Lily's face was half a smile. Anyway, you guys don't get scholarships, so it doesn't matter if you don't pass the regular exams. If you don't, spend some money to retake them. Ah. Is this speaking in human language? Reviving her life, Lin Shi couldn't help but furrow her brows when she heard such harsh words. Are guys not human? Lin Shi, hurry up. Otherwise, I will let Shu Shu ignore you again in the future. Upon hearing Shirley Li's threat, Lin Shi smiled nonchalantly and used her body to break through the blockade of Xia Shui and Niumengqi, taking her brothers directly to the last row of internet cafes for 6 consecutive sessions. Leave 4 bewildered faces. Ignoring me. Lin Shi couldn't wait for this. This tough scene made all 4 roommates, except for Zhang Kai, dumbfounded. I'll go, Lin Shi is so tough today. Bullshit. I've seen these women displeased for a long time. They're just pretending to be Queen Mother while doing their homework for free, so I should ignore them. That is to say, Lin Shi has a good temper. If she were to switch to our village, she would have to cut her big mouth. Bashi, upon seeing Lin Shi leave, Nan Shu and a few others were immediately at a loss and stood there dumbfounded. What should I do? There will be 10 more minutes for class, and even if you do it yourself, you won't be able to finish it now. Due to their excellent character, neither the girls nor the boys in the class were willing to copy their homework. They never expected that Lin Shi, who had always been obedient, would openly disobey orders this time, which was greatly unexpected. Even in the subconscious of Nan Shu, Lin Shi had become her private property. It became something to show off, similar in function to her branded bag, necklace, and expensive clothes. Zhaoshuyuan.com however, this thing suddenly disappeared, causing great disappointment and discomfort. No, let's spend some money. Sally sighed, I know a Chinese language senior who handles her homework very well. She should be able to submit it when she comes back. Just treat her to a meal then. In university, the courses and PPTs of the same major in humanities are almost the same, and the homework questions left by the teacher are also basically the same. The only purpose of group assignments is to calculate daily scores, and they are not very useful. Many teachers just take a glance and go through the process without leaving any marks on the paper. Even if it's just using the homework written by senior students to make up the numbers. Of course, the prerequisite is that the teacher did not see it. Lily is still reliable. Xia Shui immediately complimented her and looked disdainfully at Nan Shu. Niumengqi also stood next to Lily and the 3 of them went to the girls' dormitory to get their homework together. Nan Shu returned to the classroom feeling somewhat lonely. Although they were 10 minutes late for class, these 3 people actually brought their homework back and smoothly handed it in to pass the exam. A few people breathed a sigh of relief. In class, listening to the voice of the beautiful teacher reciting the PPT, Nan Shu was in a daze for a long time, and the more he thought, the more angry he became. Unconsciously, tears fell down his face. Turning to look at Lin Shi. I thought he would be ashamed of his mistake this time, but when I saw this guy looking like he had nothing to do, holding a pen and not knowing what to write on the paper, I became even angrier. After hesitating for a long time, I couldn't help but quietly take out my phone and send a message to Lin Shi. Xiao Bo's little follow-up reading. During the day, the author doesn't have time to write articles and updates 2 chapters every night after 9 p.m. I hope everyone can support me. Chapter 5. Lin Shi will definitely regret it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, meanwhile, the hometown of the rear row king. Lin Shi is carefully contemplating how to live in this life, writing down all the things she can think of on paper and listing them one by one. In this life, besides making up for the regret of love with my senior sister, earning some money is also necessary. Set a small goal first. My family is relatively well off, I have a suite in the county town, my parents have stable jobs, and my younger sister is in elementary school at a young age. There are no disasters or illnesses, so they don't have to worry about themselves for the time being. Currently in November 2008, due to the impact of the global economic crisis, Longwa's economy will enter a period of downturn in the next few years, but it will eventually pass smoothly and enter a phase of explosive growth. Smartphones are gradually encroaching on the market, Nokia's stock is plummeting, and with the emergence of 3G networks, the era of intelligence is approaching. With the foresight of Lin Shi, making money is actually not difficult. Even if you don't do any work in the future, just buy sports lottery, make a tenfold increase in sales, and buy a few more times, you can still become a wealthy person. Otherwise, we can run on the cash flow of real estate. First, take out a loan to buy a car, mortgage, pay off a mortgage, buy a car, then mortgage, and then go into real estate. The same trick, as long as you win interest rates, making money is not simple. However, making money should not be rushed. The more anxious you are, the easier it is to encounter problems. You need to first stabilize your mindset and live a good life at present. Besides, if a person only earns money and doesn't enjoy life for a lifetime, what is the use of making money? Reborn, Lin Shi actually didn't place too much emphasis on money, as long as it was enough to spend. The most important thing is to have a free heart and enjoy life calmly. Of course, it is not possible to enjoy life calmly without money. I still need to earn some money to support myself, my wife, my parents and family, achieve financial freedom, and live a relaxed and comfortable life. Compared to the clever ways of making money mentioned above, what Lin Shi most wants to do is still the familiar field of her past life. Production and sales of women's clothing and jewelry. Who in the world earns the best money? Without a doubt, it must be a woman. A regular women's clothing costs 10 yuan in production, but as long as it is labeled with a brand name, the price can be at least 5 times higher. And unlike men, women are willing to spend money to pay for themselves. As long as marketing is in place, even if she doesn't need it, she will buy her favorite bags, skirts, and high heels back and collect them. Men let him buy a car worth hundreds of thousands without hesitation, and let him buy clothes worth tens of yuan before leaving. The money he saved would rather go and have a hot pot with his buddies. But things like cars require research and development, and require a lot of investment. It's not something that a technical novice like him can achieve overnight. So, if you want to make money, if you want to make quick money, if you want to make long-term and stable money, you still need to start with women. Just as I was thinking about it, the phone screen suddenly lit up and QQ Penguin flashed. Lin Shi opened the keyboard lock and found that it was a message from Nan Shu. She pouted in annoyance and used the keys to search for her target step by step. I'm used to playing with smartphones, and I'm not used to controlling these 2G phones anymore. Otherwise, I would have deleted this woman long ago. What a mess. Lin Shi, what's wrong with you? Don't be so stingy, okay? I'm just having a birthday kiss with the student union president. What's the point? Cut, which woman still has her first kiss now? Don't be too naive, okay? Be magnanimous like a man and show someone a mournful face. Even if I'm wrong, didn't you give us the group assignment? We're even now. We've both forgotten about this, how about breaking the mirror and reuniting? Accidentally seeing the message sent by Nan Shu, Lin Shi was immediately angry and laughed, unsure whether to call her innocent or foolish. Do you think all women in the world are buses because you are a bus? Suggest inclusion in the dictionary. After finding the delete key, Lin Shi thought for a moment and, in a retaliatory attitude, typed back. Are you from Dunhuang? This is a cliché that has been used up in later generations, but in 2008, it was already considered a superfluous trash talk. Nan Shu was stunned for a moment, didn't understand, and directly asked the love strategist, Lily, to intervene. The last time about peach was also something she later came to understand. Peach. English peach homophonic. Fart eating. So the meaning of that sentence at that time was, what the hell are you thinking about eating? As an IQ officer in the dormitory, Nan Shu would ask her anything she didn't understand. Shirley Li saw this sentence and instinctively laughed, coughed lightly, and asked in response, books, what do you think Dunhuang has the most? Dunhuang. Should be a mural, right? Nan Shu felt proud of his intelligence, but his face changed the next moment. Is he talking too much about me? Shirley nodded and suddenly realized that Lin Shi was quite humorous, not even cursing. I feel like I misunderstood this person before. Nanshu's fingers continued typing rapidly. Lin Shi, you have changed. You are not a man. However, before she could send the message, Lin Shi had already deleted her QQ friend. Her words were like a ship sinking into the deep sea, without any response. Coincidentally, the bell for the end of class rang. Lin Shi stood up and looked out at the bright and warm sunshine outside the window. Ignoring Nan Shu's anger, she walked alone towards the north gate of the school. Lu Sun once said that when a slave kneels for a long time, he forgets. The reality is like this. Men must first strive for self-improvement in order to gain the respect of others. Attempting to kneel down and win the favor of women is impossible in this lifetime. Even games tell you this truth. Women force you to kneel down with their appearance and desires, while Noxus makes you stand up, giving you a new life in glory, and making it visible to the world. Only by understanding this point can men fully grasp the initiative in things. But there are many foolish people in this world who never understand this truth until they die. Looking at Lin Shi's departure, Nan Shu cried again. For some reason, even though she doesn't seem to care in her heart, every move of this person will inevitably affect her emotions. You say, what's wrong with Lin Shi? Why is she suddenly so indifferent to me? Upon hearing the crying, Shirley sighed, while Xia Shui and Niu Mengqi laughed happily on the side. They occasionally glanced at Nan Shu and then secretly chuckled. I think he's just jealous and wants to play hard to get, the two interjected. What does it mean? The meaning is that he deliberately did it. If you want to catch your attention in this way, go to Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com and ask you to chase him back. Xia Shui blinked at Lily and said seriously. The latter knew that these two people wanted to deceive Nan Shu and sat beside him with a smile on their faces, but ultimately did not stop them. Is that so? Nan Shu suddenly felt that the two of them had a point, wiped away his tears, and said, pursuing in reverse. I don't want it. What do you think I should do now? It's very simple, Niu Mengqi said with a smile. Do you know about the cat abandonment effect? A cat that has been abandoned by its original owner will become particularly well behaved after being re-adopted because it is worried about being abandoned again. In fact, emotions are the same. Nan Shu is a bit confused and still doesn't quite understand. Oh, why are you so stupid? Xia Shui added on the side, just ignore Lin Shi and abandon him like a cat. Just make him anxious, make him sad, maybe he will come to you naturally after a while. After understanding Nan Shu's sentence, I thought for a moment and realized that what the two of them said really made sense. After all, when he used to refuse Lin Shi's confession, he would also be sad for a few days, but when he saw that he really ignored him, he would soon come back and apologize to her. This time it must be the same. I'll listen to you guys. I've been ignoring him lately. I'll make him kneel and lick when the time comes. Hey, even if he apologizes to you and wants to reconcile with you, don't agree casually. Yes, otherwise we won't cherish what we easily get, Xia Shui and her companion said with a certain tone. Nan Shu nodded, showing a pretty smile, and said fiercely. I won't easily forgive him this time. Lin Shi will definitely regret it. Chapter 6. Communication of Thoughts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, the wind is sunny and the sun is just right. Speaking of which, the world at this time is still very quiet, unlike the years that followed when society became a boiling pot of water, and everyone was very anxious. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, many vendors had already arrived at the north gate of the campus, standing in their positions ahead of time, filled with the atmosphere of human fireworks. Lin Shi's goal is a hair salon, and now her hairstyle is a bit tacky. In order to have a good start with her senior at the ball and attract her attention, she needs to prepare well. In addition, you also need to rent a suit yourself. Armani or Zegna suits are great, and you can also wear a Constantine watch. Well, it's best to have another Ferrari. Of course, this is the fantasy of the week and also the fantasy of Lin Shi. In 2008, the vast majority of people in the Dragon Kingdom were not as fashionable as before. In my past life, I didn't understand anything and just borrowed a senior suit to go to a dance party. Compared to others, it was like a chicken entering a flock of cranes. It doesn't matter if you spend more money at such an important time, just make it back then. However, what impressed Lin Shi deeply was that on the night of his previous life, he had originally scheduled Nan Shu to go to the ball, but she stood him up because she wanted to go shopping with her best friend. There were dozens of pairs of men and women in the art hall, but he didn't have a dance partner. If it weren't for his senior sister giving him face, it would have been really embarrassing back then. However, it was precisely because of Nan Shu's breach of appointment that the fate of him and Su Wanqing, who were constantly in a mess, was established. Thinking of these old stories, Lin Shi shook her head without hesitation. Love is like quicksand, if you can't hold it, let it go. There's better waiting ahead. As for her feelings towards Nan Shu, Lin Shi's heart is actually very complicated. Setting aside the relationship between men and women, they have been friends for 7 consecutive years in middle school, high school, and college, and their families are still neighbors. Although I don't love you anymore, I won't turn against you. I believe I will become a polite passerby in the future. Perhaps even when I see her crying, I occasionally feel heartbroken. After all, I have loved her for so long. But Lin Shi will force herself not to turn back. Heaven is far apart, as long as we don't disturb each other. Lin Shi thought of these things in her heart, laughed at herself, and her thoughts suddenly became clear. Sitting in a barber shop, Lin Shi touched her unconventional slanted bangs like blades and decided to lift the seal. Starting from scratch, she cut a short and broken lid. With my own memory, after working hard for half an hour to explain my demands to the barber, soon a new hairstyle was born that surpassed this era. Elegant yet domineering. Gentle yet sharp. Combined with the inherent scholarly aura, Lin Shi's overall spiritual outlook was refreshed, and only then did she feel truly reborn. Even walking on the road, the rate of turning heads has increased significantly. Many girls even took out their phones to secretly take photos of him, and some people came over to ask for his QQ number. Lin Shi politely declined. He doesn't like being stared at by many people. It feels like many people are going to lift him up with their arms and throw him into a fire pit. Mu Xiu will be destroyed by the wind in the forest, and this principle applies everywhere. Today is an exception, so it's better to keep a low profile in daily life. Turning around, Lin Shi turned into the joyful wedding dress shop and looked around the wall, ready to rent a comfortable suit to wear. But this store has always been very dark. According to alumni from the school's chiba, many people have suffered losses here and have been slaughtered by their bosses. There were quite a few things inside, and a girl with a pair of ponytails was carrying a white dress, negotiating prices with the boss. Lin Shi approached silently. "Boss, for the sake of my cuteness, how about this clothes being cheaper? 50 yuan a day is too expensive." Although she is indeed quite cute, as soon as the girl opened her mouth, Lin Shi knew she had absolutely no experience in bargaining when buying things. How could there be such a bargain? It's too straightforward to speak. In this way, even if the other party lowers the price, it is basically useless within the concession price that the other party has already set. Sure enough, the shop owner immediately pretended to complain when he heard that the girl was just an outsider. "My daughter, this 50 is not expensive anymore. Look at this fabric, this workmanship, this style, what a great thing. I spend 50 per day here, and in other people's places, it's usually 60. This price is really not expensive. Xingda held a dance party tonight, and many people from your school came to me to rent clothes. If you don't rent them, you will soon have other girls take them away, After hearing the boss complete this set of combo punches, the girl with 2 ponytails suddenly became anxious and reached out to take out the money. She looked up and down, speculating that she should also be one of the participants in tonight's dance. Whose family's money is not brought by strong winds, why let her be such a big scapegoat? Moreover, on this cute double ponytail girl who was less than 1.5 meters tall, she could vaguely see a trace of her younger sister's shadow, both in her demeanor and movements. Reborn and returning, long time no see, he really misses that cute little guy in his hometown a bit. She shook her head and stepped forward to pat the boss's arm with her hand, inserting it between the two. "Boss, I want a men's suit, preferably from the Zegna brand. Do you have it?" Seeing another business coming, the boss laughed uncontrollably, but he couldn't find such high-end foreign styles here. At best, they were just Jaeger. "Oh, I don't have the Zegna suit brand here, young man, I won't look at anything else." She's mouth slightly curved upwards. What he wants is this kind of effect, first causing the other person's mental tension in order to take control. "No, what about Armani?" The shop owner scratched his head and pulled open a veil, hanging over a dozen different styles of suits, as well as 3 or 2 women's dresses. Obviously, he was lying just now when he said the girl had the last piece of clothing in her hand. At this moment, the double ponytail girl also realized this and quietly put the money into her pocket. Staring at Shi's face, he suddenly showed surprise, but deliberately concealed it, just quietly following behind him. "Hee, little brother, at first glance you're an expert. I don't have foreign suit brands here, but you can choose anything from our domestic market and the quality is absolutely guaranteed." She knew that she had just fooled this person with 2 English words, mostly treating him as a knowledgeable second-generation wealthy person. Of course, the second generation of wealthy individuals is fake, but it is true that they have gained a lot of knowledge. She carefully looked around and found a nice black suit that should fit his figure, but he didn't show any desire. "They are all domestically produced. Forget it, I'll go to a farther place and choose one. These don't really suit my taste." After speaking, she turned around and prepared to leave, giving the girl a wink. The latter understood and wanted to follow out. Seeing both customers running away, the boss became anxious and quickly followed them out. Obviously, the business in his store was not as good as he said. "Don't leave, young man. The price is easy to negotiate. Although I'm not a big brand here, it's cheap. How about I give you a discount?" For a wedding dress shop, renting suits from Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com is different from selling them. Whether it's 50 days or 40 days, it's equivalent to a net income for the boss. As for the price, it's easy to negotiate. This is also the reason why Shi dares to threaten her boss by leaving. The business that comes to her doorstep is not worth it. Even the smallest mosquito is still meat. Shi was grabbed by the boss and secretly extended 4 fingers with a cunning smile on her face. Shi shook her head, pretending to be a bit impatient, and pressed one back with her hand, pulling out her steps and still wanting to leave. The boss didn't speak, frowned, and finally readily agreed. 30 days, deal. It's a deal. Seeing the girl happily holding her dress and taking out 30 yuan, the boss trembled his beard in pain, while Shi smiled. "Price it." Whoever can take the initiative can achieve the ultimate goal. From beginning to end, Lin Shi firmly grasped the boss's thoughts, which was the only way to make progress and win at a price of 30 yuan. After happily throwing down the money, Lin Shi carried the suit she had chosen and left. However, when she left, Lin Shi didn't see it. The girl behind her kept looking at his back, showing a sly smile. Quickly type a few words on QQ on your phone. Falling flower. Ah. Luo Hua said, "Cousin, I met him again. He's the person I told you before, the person who just started school and helped me carry my luggage. Falling flower. And he has also become handsome, cousin. Really, I feel like I'm going to fall in love. Falling flower. Sister, can you understand me? The heavy sunset on earth equals the heavy sunset on earth. No. Chapter 7. Lack of money. Then borrow it from the little rich woman. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, Shengda Family Courtyard, Apartment 2. Su Wanqing was wearing an autumn cartoon pajama, with snow-white toes raised and lying at the table, writing about the upcoming events of the Dragon Kingdom. However, the sound of QQ message reminders on her phone rang one after another, interrupting her thinking. In the chat box, cousin Luo Hua is expressing her love for a boy in a playful way. Falling flower. Cousin, what should I do? He's so handsome, it's a heart-pounding sensation, my family's heavy evening sunshine. Sweating Luo Hua is her uncle's youngest daughter, 1 year younger than her. She just arrived at university this year and is like a rabbit suddenly exploring the world. Every day, she is either excited or on the road of excitement. It's normal to see a handsome guy go crazy. Su Wanqing thought for a moment and decided to encourage her. After all, her tragic experience has proven that in love, only brave people can achieve success. The afterglow in the world. If you like it, go ask for a QQ. Even if you can't be together in the future, it's still good to chat. Falling flower. But he has already left speechless the heavy sunset on earth. Since ancient times, falling flowers have been intentional, but flowing water is merciless. Although this matter with her cousin is quite outrageous, Su Wanqing doesn't say much either. According to her original persona, she should have said very little. The long sentences she just had shouldn't be her language style. So she regained her rightful tone. The earthly evening is clear. At night, dance, don't forget the time. Falling flower. Good drop, good drop. Turning off her phone, Su Wanqing looked at herself in the mirror, feeling a bit dazed for a moment. She used to be clean and pure, just like a female character in a novel, painting pear clothes. I have been living in a wealthy life since childhood, lacking friends, companionship, and rarely talking to people. I basically don't even have access to the internet. Even in the university, Su Wanqing did not choose to live in a dormitory. Instead, she rented an apartment in the school's family courtyard and hired a nanny to take care of her daily life. This is her simple and unadorned life. Before the man named Lin Shi broke into her world, Su Wanqing's inner world was desolate, with blank spaces everywhere. After he broke in, everything changed. As Hai Wenxiang said in the anime, every scale demon is born into this world, and her heart is like a seed floating in the ocean. She must find a shore she can rely on, attach herself to it, take root, sprout, and bloom. For Su Wanqing, Linshi is the coastline in her heart, a harbor for her in countless lonely nights. No matter what, she won't give up on this man, just like the captain won't give up on that ship after he dies. And with each rebirth, Su Wanqing gradually emerged from the desert in her heart amidst disappointment and growth. She started learning to accept new things, trying to make friends with girls, and her personality gradually became lively, making her more bright and brave. She began to be curious about the unknown and wanted to leave her home and go to different places to see the wonderful world outside. It's like turning into a little witch. But no matter who she becomes, she always keeps that boy in her heart and tightly covers him. Su Wanqing covered her chest and looked out the window. The sunset fell on her face, half noble and pure, half sexy and fiery. After a long time, she set aside those future events and took out a brand new diary, smiling as she wrote. Dream 01, go to the Bays Lake in Qingda with Lin Shi, which is the most romantic place in the entire Jiangnan city. Dream 02, go shopping with Lin Shi, because every couple would do this. Dream 03, sitting in the room and letting Lin Shi rub her feet, men seem to like doing this, and I don't know why. Dream 99, let Lin Shi personally put on my wedding dress and walk into the hall of marriage with him. Dream 100, give birth to a child for Lin Shi, and we will raise her, him, together to grow up. Night falls. A pair of boys and girls passed in the magnificent hall, and the air was filled with a fresh perfume. Lin Shi didn't know which brand of perfume it was. The smell was a bit like an orange, fresh and pleasant, just masking the noisy atmosphere in the venue. Sitting next to him is his roommate Li Wei, who is also dressed in a suit, but in terms of temperament, he is far inferior to Lin Shi. Like a child stealing adult clothes. Other roommates were watching the resources brought back by Lao Kai from the internet cafe, but only Li Wei was not interested and was willing to join Lin Shi in the fun. At this moment, Li Wei's small eyes were staring up and down at the passers-by, grading their appearance one by one. I'm going. Brother Lin, I suspect this is not a dance party, it's its helpless emperor's draft. I'm here this time. Lin Shi smiled indifferently, without hesitation, and her gaze quickly swept around. At this point, there were still 43 minutes left until the start of the dance, and the two of them sat in front of the round table in the venue chatting haphazardly. Li Wei's family has some money, and he has been a businessman for generations. His father runs a factory, perhaps because of business reasons, he talks about things one by one. However, I heard that same-sex-friendly communication is popular in their area, and Lin Shi consciously maintains a certain safe distance from him in her heart. Moreover, a guy who has no interest in hair slices is indeed suspicious. Women are just products of sexual desire, and true love is between men. Look at these mediocre and vulgar fans, hey. They don't look great. That's right. Lin Shi replied perfunctorily, although she didn't dare to agree, there was no need to object. However, seeing the clothes these girls are wearing, the jewelry they are wearing, and the lipstick they are wearing, I have some thoughts in my heart. Based on the data he saw in his past life. Among the main consumer groups in society, female college students account for a large proportion, especially in women's mid to low-end products, which can reach almost 30%. This is an extremely terrifying number. You should know that the population base of Dragon Country is huge, and there must be at least tens of millions of female college students in 2008. 30% will mean what a huge market for women. Not to mention anything else, just opening a fresh food supermarket in college costs millions of yuan in rent per year, and there are still people rushing to settle in. Moreover, it doesn't have a certain connection, you don't even have the qualification to open a storefront to college. Zhaozuiyuan.com. Earning money from women is simple, earning money from female college students is even simpler. If I could use a product to conquer the female market at Qingda and expand it nationwide, not to mention being extremely wealthy, at least I could also be full of it. According to market research data from her past life, female college students mainly consume cosmetics and clothing. But this is the year of 2008. In addition to taking part in some special activities, most girls in Longwood do not have the consciousness of making up. What they pay attention to is a kind of original and natural pure beauty. They usually apply nail polish. Nail polish is unnecessary. By contrast, skin care products can be used. As for women's clothing, this thing can be made no matter which year. As long as the sales format is done well and makes women feel they have taken advantage, they will compete to buy. For example, future live streaming sales, online shopping, the 11e.commerce festival, and various offline discount promotions. Yes, just do this business. Lin, she made up her mind and suddenly froze. My own idea is good, but what about the money? What about the principle? Setting aside money to talk about ideals is equivalent to playing hooliganism. Where to do business without capital? However, when it comes to money, Lin, she does think of someone, Miss Su Wanqing. She is a real rich woman. I heard that her family's assets are all worth billions. After going to college, her parents rented an apartment specifically for her in the family courtyard. The assets of the courtyard belong to the school and cannot be bought or sold individually, and even provided a nanny. So I want to get my first bucket of gold for doing business. What kind of lottery, bank loans, and borrowing money from a little rich woman are not satisfying? Lin, she's mouth curved upwards, and she lowered her head to glance at her watch, looking forward to meeting her senior sister even more. Chapter 8. During the ball. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, below Shunda Art Building. A Mercedes-Benz car is struggling to reverse into the garage because the space left by the two cars next to it is too narrow, and the surrounding view is dim. It has been parked more than 10 times but has not entered. Sun Ziliang cursed inwardly, saying that if it weren't for the 4 beautiful schoolgirls sitting in the car, they would have already started greeting each other's family members. Nan Shu on the passenger seat smiled awkwardly without speaking, but it was this expression that pricked Sun Ziliang's nerves. This reminded him of the first time he went to a hotel to talk about a billion-dollar business, where he was mocked by a woman for not understanding the details and making several unsuccessful attempts. Just like that time, the more angry he got, the more he couldn't reverse the car. And there is only one parking spot left in this area below the art building. If he is parked in another place and is seen by the security patrol car, because he is a student, he will inevitably be punished by the school. Finally, 5 minutes later, after a slight twist in the body of the car, the big bend smoothly inserted between the two cars. Sun Tzu-liang breathed a sigh of relief, and his body and mind suddenly became much more relaxed. Although he was rejected by the most beautiful girl in the geology major today, feeling a bit uncomfortable, being able to meet these freshmen was also a slight gain. Especially the girl named Nan Shu, who is quite attractive, and I heard that because of him, she has completely broken up with her boyfriend and will never reconcile again. This instantly satisfied Sun Tzu-liang's vanity. Shirley Li is a member of the student union, and she naturally told me about Nan Shu. However, her original intention was to mock Nan Shuiba, but she didn't expect that Sun Ziliang didn't know what had gone wrong and invited them to tonight's Xingda ball, and even made Nan Shu sit in the passenger seat. This made Lily, who always claimed to be beautiful, very unhappy in her heart. She went crazy with jealousy and didn't say a few words along the way. On the other hand, Xia Shui and Niu Mengqi chattered along the way from behind, constantly inquiring about Sun Ziliang's family situation and how much the car cost. Tonight's dance party, I will be the most dazzling man. Remember to give me a round of applause then. Sun Ziliang casually boasted to several girls, pretending to be straightforward. However, in reality, his dancing ability is average, only knowing the most basic steps, commonly known as half-hanging. But as the president of the student union, when he appears, regardless of whether the dance is good or not, there will definitely be many people applauding him, so that he can pretend to have a wave. After installation, it will be more convenient to pick up girls in the future. That's why he attended the ball. Although this behavior may seem somewhat childish, it is actually not difficult to understand. Think about it, in the gaming world, there are a bunch of men competing to take care of their girls, only seeking to schedule an offline meeting for in-depth communication. The real world is actually the same. Men, especially young men with money and leisure, have this thing on their minds. After all, big head son and small head father. On the way here, Niu Mengqi and Xia Shui, in order to please their grandson Liang, had already told all the details about Nan Shu and Lin Shi, fearing that others might not know. You said it's just a group assignment, you even made him anxious and deleted his friend. Pooh, he's really not a man. Although his appearance is average, I think if Lin Shi pays more and persists for more than a decade, it may not be that Nan Shu will not agree to marry him in the future. Sun Tzu Liang smiled. Saying the right thing with your mouth, but secretly laughing in your heart, these women are really nothing. He could hear that emotions were just about letting the donkey work and not letting it eat grass, and as a result, the donkey ran away. These people actually blamed it for the donkey's fault. But it's also a good thing. In this way, he will have even less psychological pressure when exercising in the future. As a bad girl, Sun Ziliang has never wasted time. Especially the one named Lily, you can tell that she has some interest in herself, so why not take her first? That's to say, men should spoil girls into princesses. Are you right, President Sunday? Xia Shui came to a conclusion and happily sought approval. Sun Tzu Liang smiled and immediately replied sincerely, yes, you're right. Of course, I should spoil you as a princess. It's best to wear a cozy outfit again, that would be great. Upon hearing Sun Tzu Liang's sincere approval, all four girls laughed and praised him as a warm-hearted man. A few people jokingly walked into the dance venue, and Lily saw Lin Shi at a glance. At first, she thought she was mistaken, but when she found Li Wei next to him, she was certain that the handsome guy was Lin Shi. I just didn't expect that after a few hours of absence, I changed my hairstyle and put on a black and straight suit, and suddenly became handsome. Who said he was ugly just now? Even the grandson Liang next to him cannot compare to his good looks, right? Is he Lin Shi? Sun Ziliang followed the gaze of the few people and frowned. For the first time in his life, he felt that someone was even more handsome than him, and that he lacked the temperament of a thief. However, Xia Shui accurately discovered Lin Shi's shortcomings. He only has roommates next to him, and no girl is willing to be his dance partner. This breathed a sigh of relief for Sun Tzu Liang. Without a dance partner, it would mostly be the audience who came to see the ball. If he were to attend the ball, he might really surpass himself in popularity, which would be a big deal for him. Nan Shu took a few serious glances at Lin Shi, and in his heart, he actually wanted to go and talk to him, but when he thought of the abandoned cat effect, he restrained himself. Four girls sat in front of a round table, occasionally looking around. Sun Tzu Liang went to find his promised partner and prepared for the upcoming dance party. Brother Lin, who do you think that is? Li Wei didn't mind the commotion and pointed to several women in the distance for Lin Shi, wanting to laugh but not daring. Oh, it's them. Even if we meet, we don't know each other. From then on, we will meet as passers-by. Lin Shi never eats this kind of back grass that has been chewed on by others, and her heart feels uneasy. Quan Dang has not seen anything. Besides, the senior sister will be coming soon. Her figure, appearance, and long legs are not much more durable than those of Nan Shu. I just don't know why, but my senior sister hasn't appeared here, and it feels abnormal. At this moment, the music had already begun to play, just like in previous lives, the first dance was a romantic waltz. The audience inside the venue has consciously closed their mouths, and a pair of men and women in formal attire have chosen their own place, ready to dance gracefully. Lin Shi walked nervously to the center of the stage and stood beside the crowd, slightly stunned. Just like at that time, he had no dance partner on the XX chromosome, only a same-sex roommate with the same XY chromosome. Damn it, it's done. Brother Lin, you probably don't have a dance partner, do you? Li Wei exclaimed in surprise. Although he didn't know how to dance, he also knew that this kind of dance usually required bringing his own arranged beauty. Now it seems that Lin Shi doesn't have any at all. Surely Li had already laughed, and Xia Shui and Niu Mengqi were even more serious when looking for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. She had already picked up her phone and started taking photos, and Nan Shu secretly said that she deserved it. Isn't he very impressive? You have the ability to become a woman now. Leaving her Nan Shu, who in this world would be willing to deal with him. A few people are just waiting to see a joke. 3 seconds later, the venue lights gradually dimmed, like a person slowly closing their eyes. Then, beams of chasing lights shone on the people about to dance, including Lin Shi who had signed up for the ball. But he is still alone. Lin. Brother Lin, it's really not possible, just let me go. I know a little bit. Li Wei's face was painful and excited. Just as he was about to enter the range of the spotlight, his expression suddenly froze. Pop. Pop pop. Everyone heard it. In the extremely quiet field, a pair of high heels stepped on the cold marble slab, making a light and crisp sound like ice cracking, gradually moving rapidly towards a certain place. After a moment, amidst the surprised gazes of the crowd, a tall girl ran out of the darkness and came to the white spotlight, holding Lin Shi's hand. Suddenly, there was a physical reaction between the light and the crystal shoes, reflecting a dazzling light and emitting silver dots, instantly attracting the attention of the audience. Everyone in the audience was stunned. Someone recognized the girl's identity and exclaimed, "It's impossible." But whether they believe it or not, the ball has already begun, and moving music is emerging. The girl looked at each other affectionately at Lin Shi, and her right arm began to swim along with her skirt, dancing slowly like the wings of a swan. Gentle like a willow branch in spring, swaying incessantly in the wind, every move exudes elegance. The sudden appearance of this scene made all 4 women under the stage turn green. Chapter 9. Correct methods for getting a girl's contact information. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, on stage. The girl was like a sharp knife, cutting through the darkness of the entire stage. No one could resist her arrival, and her queenly aura overwhelmed everyone. Every leap of step seems to tell everyone that the truly magnificent dance has only begun now. Prior to this, Lin Shi never imagined in her life that she could achieve the current results. He has not received any professional training, and his dance enlightenment comes from a TV drama he watched as a child, The Legend of Bruce Lee. During his study abroad period, Bruce Lee shocked countless foreigners with a cha-cha dance and earned him applause, earning the respect of many people. At that time, Lin Shi thought he was really handsome, so she secretly searched for a place to practice alone. He knows how to dance, and apart from his younger sister and Nan Shu, not even his parents know about it. The dance dress swirls and ripples, while the crystal high heels reflect radiance. Speaking of which, this is the first time in his life that he has worked so perfectly with a girl. The 2 of them did not undergo any practice, but the dance movements were naturally performed without even thinking. "Hello?" Lin Shi asked softly. The girl remained silent, with a smile on her face, just like when she first met in her previous life. But at that time, Lin Shi didn't dare to speak, and her attention was entirely focused on the dance. Now think about it, I really have no future. Just a word, what's the big deal? But young and shy teenagers are like this, often missing out on many good opportunities for something that doesn't exist. May I ask your name? Lin Shi forced herself to restrain her excitement and nervousness, still asking softly. The girl in front of him is like a balloon. He is so afraid that if he speaks a little louder, he will blow her away, which will be troublesome. Su Wanqing. She spoke. This is a good start, Lin Shi breathed a sigh of relief. Falling in love is an urgent matter that requires a step-by-step approach, just like writing a novel. For the arrival of a wonderful plot, it is always necessary to lay some groundwork first. If not laid, it will reach the climax, and the plot will come inexplicably, which is likely to be criticized by readers as a sieve. Of course, we cannot lay the groundwork for too long, otherwise it will deplete our patience. My name is Lin Shi, majoring in Chinese language. I just started my freshman year. You should be my sophomore senior, right? The girl's fingers trembled slightly, as if surprised why he could guess her grade, and her eyes were full of confusion. In my sophomore year, I majored in geology. Your dance is very good, even better than mine. The words are brief and the tone is plain, like a spring breeze that is not ordinary, or like clouds drifting leisurely in the sky. This is Lin Shi's impression of Su Wanqing's senior sister back then. This is still the case now. Every time she approached her, unconsciously, Lin Shi would calm down as if she had come to a forest alone. What are you thinking? Su Wanqing asked curiously. Lin Shi actually didn't think about anything, just thought that seeing her senior would make her nervous or incoherent, but in reality, she didn't. At this moment, unexpectedly, Lin Shi relaxed her whole body and swayed to the music, repeatedly performing those elegant and moving dance movements. I was wondering why you chose me as your dance partner, Lin Shi said with a hint of self-deprecating laughter. I thought no woman would be willing to deal with a man who couldn't even bring a dance partner. At this point, the waltz dance is already halfway through, and the amplitude and difficulty of their movements have increased. At the same time, physical contact is gradually increasing. Gradually, some groups on the field began to be unable to complete the double action, and they left with a gloomy expression as the chasing lights went out, including Sun Tzu Liang. Sometimes, don't look up too high on others, even if they are your elders, seniors, teachers, or some other person. In the dance clubs of universities, there are also many people who play the role of a lackey, fish in troubled waters, and enthusiasts. Only about half of the people can truly dance a whole dance. And those who can finish dancing and still perform beautifully are among the few in the entire club. It's not your fault not to have a dance partner. Most people don't deserve your elegant movements. Also, please don't think too much. Su Wanqing's body kept circling beside the Lin Shi, like a willow swayed by the wind, full of poetic romance. I'll help you. Because my mother once said, a man without a dance partner is like swimming naked in the desert. I just don't want you to be too embarrassed here. This metaphor is really appropriate. Lin Shi felt a bit embarrassed and thought to herself that it was indeed not easy for her senior sister to bubble up. Although she may seem somewhat inexperienced, she always gives him the illusion of seeing through everything. However, using the same hobbies to attract a girl's interest and engaging in friendly communication with her is a necessary foundation for her to become a girlfriend. Lin Shi didn't take on her conversation, but started a new line, otherwise it would have ended directly. You can tell that you really enjoy dancing. Lin Shi calculated the time and estimated that it would be over in half the minute. He needs to take advantage of this time period to achieve his goals, otherwise this dance will be in vain. How did you know? Looking at the clever and silly expressions on the girl in front of her, Lin Shi didn't know how to describe her new impression. Anyway, it felt very comfortable to get along with, which was enough. I counted, there were a total of 36 girls dancing in the room, and you were the only one who could dance to the end while still keeping your feet steady while speaking. This indicates that you should dance this dance frequently. Apart from the word love, I can't find any other reason. Su Wanqing's hand clenched tightly with him at once, and her eyes were sparkling, as if she had found a confidant. This is the result that Lin Shi wants, to find the other person's sense of identification, and then she will say. You should also love dancing, right? Yes, but I only dance occasionally. I don't have a good partner, and I probably won't dance here again in the future. Why? Lin Shi showed a helpless expression and continued the dance until the last move, with their eyebrows and eyes facing each other. The music had slowly stopped. I have no choice, I want to make some money now, but speculation is the patent of the rich, and hard work is the annotation of the poor. I am the latter. I understand, I don't have time, do I? Su Wanqing let go of their intersecting bodies and said softly with a furrowed brow. That's really a pity. Lin Shi helplessly spread out her hands, turned around and wanted to leave, then smiled faintly and said. Of course, if you came to find me at zhaozhuyuan.com, I would definitely agree to dance with you. After speaking, he moved his steps and slowly withdrew under the gaze of many people, with waves of applause echoing like a tsunami. The person who received the applause was naturally the handsome couple on stage, and almost everyone knew Su Wanqing. But what makes many people curious is, why did she dance with this man? This is not scientific. For Lin Shi, many people not only feel that he is very handsome, but also hear about his emotional gossip. These things were not unexpected, they were just spoken out by Nan Shu's roommates, but none of these four women had a pretty face. It's like a relative who has been laughing at others for being poor. One day, I was so surprised and unbelievable to hear that the other person won 1 billion yuan in the lottery. Why is such a beautiful woman willing to partner with Lin Shi? He should have made a fool of himself. Nan Shu thought indignantly. Moreover, tonight's Lin Shi is very different from the past. His temperament seemed to undergo some subtle changes, as if he had suddenly matured a lot, with an inexplicable confidence. But she clearly noticed that Lin Shi's fingers were trembling and her footsteps were much slower than usual, as if she was waiting for something. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8. Just as Lin Shi was counting to the 9th second, a soft voice suddenly came from behind. Lin Shi, can I ask for your contact information? I would like to. So that it's convenient to invite you out to dance together in the future. Lin Shi, who seemed to have been chatting with her senior sister all along, was actually being gentle and persuasive. Upon hearing this sentence, she felt relieved and immediately stopped walking. As expected, the goal was achieved. Chapter 10. Correct Ways to Borrow Money from Rich Women. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, all the groundwork ahead has finally come to an end at this moment. Su Wanqing took the initiative to ask for Lin Shi's phone number and also added QQ friends. And he grabbed him and reluctantly invited Lin Shi to dance another dance. That is to say, tango requires intimate physical contact. Compared to the waltz, this dance is more unrestrained. Soon, the two of them were like sharp knives, cutting open a dance field. This scene stunned Li Wei, who had been single for 18 years, as he had just seen Lin Shi give the girl her contact information. This is really strange. It's always a man who takes the initiative to ask for a woman's contact information. How could he turn around when he's here? Is this reasonable? This is actually quite reasonable. In fact, if a man wants to get the contact information of a girl, he doesn't have to take the initiative to do so, which would be too presumptuous. How to attract the other person's attention and make the girl interested in you is the most important task for boys. Otherwise, even if we need to get our contact information, what can we do? It's not like deleting each other, there's no next step at all. But this method of contacting people should be based on the fact that you really have the ability to attract girls and just put your charm in their hearts. If the girl doesn't like dancing at all, it's useless for you to jump out in front of others. It may also backfire and become the second cup in the eyes of other girls. If the situation gets even worse, it could even turn into iron brothers who hammer each other's chests in the future, which really belongs to. Old Sierra stomped her feet, jealous and teasing. The two of them danced and chatted quietly while taking a breath, which made Sun Liang's veins burst with jealousy on the side. He was originally rejected by Su Wanqing, so she refused. This woman had never danced with any man in the dance club, which was not embarrassing, at most it was a moment of depression. But now she not only dances with men, but also tango, and she is very close. Sun Ziliang even suspected that Su Wanqing deliberately posted it, but suffered from the lack of evidence. To be honest, Sun Ziliang has never lacked women since he came to college. What type hasn't been soaked before? It's nothing more than saying, love saint. But for some reason, standing in front of Lin Shi, not only was she shorter, but even her temperament seemed to have decreased. Is that why Su Wanqing refused him and was willing to dance with this kid? Of course, Sun Ziliang was just unhappy in his heart and still had a lot of self-awareness. Su Wanqing has a big background, and her family business is spread throughout half of the Dragon Kingdom. It's not something that people like him can afford to provoke, they just complain and complain in their hearts. If he really insists on playing hard and can't handle it well, and gets angry, it will be more than worth the loss if he really goes bankrupt for his family. The women he flirts with are very targeted, such as the ones named Lily and Xia Shui that he made an appointment with today. He is responsible for giving money. If he gets tired of playing, both parties can get together and part ways without disturbing each other. Sun Ziliang knew that he and Su Wanqing had nothing to do, and he also did not believe that Lin Shi could get involved. Neither of these two people's identities are cross-class anymore, it's a world difference. Not to mention getting married, dating is unlikely. I've been rich for 3 generations and can't find girls. As a salaried family, if an ordinary freshman can catch up, I'll stand on my head and eat xiang. Sun Tzuliang swore happily in his heart. Only Luo Hua, who was also standing on the stage, occasionally looked at the two of them, who seemed to be playing harmoniously, feeling speechless. As Su Wanqing's cousin, she had never seen her cousin so close to any boy before. Hey, cousin, the boy I promised to chase, but your gaze at him is almost brushed, okay? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Yes, it should have happened by chance. It couldn't have been an appointment. Lin Shi has only been in college for 2 months, so it's impossible for her to know her girl. Nan Shu stood up and stared angrily at the woman dancing gracefully under the spotlight, feeling a sudden sense of contrast in his heart. She claimed to be exceptionally beautiful, but suddenly saw another woman who was even more beautiful than herself, and her heart instinctively became jealous. And this woman is still holding her pursuer, the two of them whispering from time to time, quite affectionate. But clearly, that man even gave her a gift this morning. How could this be? Nan Shu didn't know what he had done wrong, nor did he understand the reasons for Lin Shi's changes. But I vaguely felt in my heart that this must be related to the woman around him. At this point, the 4 of them could no longer sit down. They had just spoken ill of someone, and the feeling of being slapped in the face was very uncomfortable. They immediately got up and left together. This must just be a coincidence, Xia Shui pouted and refused to admit it. Yes. Niu Mengqi agreed. Don't be angry, everyone. It's still early. How about we take a walk to Bays Lake at school? I heard there's a CAFA open there, so let's go sit down too. Only Lily felt indifferent. She has always thought that Lin Shi is a potential stock, and she is also quite handsome. Today, it can be considered as a confirmation of her own ideas, and she is quite proud. This proposal was approved by several people, and soon they walked towards the nearby Xingdao artificial lake, feeling extremely angry. Only Nan Shu turned around and left a desolate shadow. She had a feeling that Lin Shi might never come back after leaving this time. What kind of abandoned cat effect is just a lie from her best friend, she actually knows it. Nan Shu was just unwilling, everything that used to be had to scatter like sand, until it drifted without a trace and could never be found again. Off stage. Hello, brother Lin Shi, can I call you that? Su Wanqing sat quietly at the round table, looking shyly at the man in front of her. Lin Shi nodded and smiled faintly, looking at her with a somewhat dazed and heartbroken gaze. It is said that she really has no friends. She has always been alone in class, eating, going home, and doing anything. Being able to fall in love with such a girl shows that people really see her as the most important person in life, and she is the only one. Just call me Lin Shi, my senior. Calling junior students to have more grades, and sounding much younger than her age, makes a 28-year-old soul's face look different. Su Wanqing. Hello Lin Shi. Lin Shi. Hello senior sister. Su Wanqing. Lin Shi, have you been very short of money lately? Lin Shi. Dig a groove. Li Wei looked at Lin Shi and the unfamiliar beauty sitting alone in a corner, suddenly feeling a bit redundant. What is this all about? Isn't Lin just heartbroken and quickly hooked up with a beautiful dance girl? Bai Yueguang said no, so why not? My friend said I don't care, so I just don't care. I thought only someone like me would value sex over friends. Looking for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com, I didn't expect that you, Lin Shi, with thick eyebrows and big eyes, wouldn't care about your brother's lives even if you had a woman. I want to go back to the dormitory and tell you to my brothers. At the thought of this, Li Wei stepped up and left. But before leaving, Li Wei still greeted Lin Shi and quietly took out 5 red banknotes and put them in his pocket. The latter understood, and the two looked at each other with a wicked smile. But what Lin Shi didn't know was that inside the 5 banknotes, there was also a small plastic packaging bag with a pile of Japanese printed on it and 3 huge numbers written on it, 003. This is the reason why Li Wei laughed badly. It has to be said that this is undoubtedly the best friend, not only the money for picking up girls, but also the necessary measures prepared. Senior sister, to be honest, I really want to do some business recently and need some starting capital. Lin Shi didn't hide it and said it frankly. Su Wanqing. How much do you need? What kind of plot is this? Are you joking? Lin Shi is not the kind of person who eats soft food. Senior sister, I want to earn this money by myself. I didn't mention borrowing money. Upon hearing Lin Shi's words, Su Wanqing was taken aback and thought to herself, I didn't mention borrowing money either. I blinked my eyes with a smile on my face. Then he remained silent for a moment, stood up with a smile, and obediently said. Lin Shi, earning money on your own is very tiring. I want to lend you some money. If you're willing to accompany me out for a walk tonight. Suddenly, Lin Shi's mouth was even harder to suppress than AK's, and she looked at the clumsy and particularly cute senior sister in front of her, revealing her neat 8 teeth. Then, standing up and covering his heart with his right hand, he bent down 30 degrees like a gentleman and sincerely said. Senior, I want to borrow more, okay?